swelling, lymphedema, poor immunity, a fatigue or chronic fatigue syndrome, and symptoms such as headaches or brain fog, even skin conditions, can all be major symptoms of lymphatic stagnation or a blocked lymph system. Do you have these? So in today's episode of the Ancient Health Podcast, we're going to talk about how a stagnant lymph system could create not only these symptoms, but even lead to more serious conditions. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Chris Motley, host of the Ancient Health Podcast, and we're going to talk all things lymph today. And I hope everybody out there is having a great day. And the reason that the lymphatic system is so important is because if you have a lymphatic system that is stuck or stagnant, it also represents that you could possibly have sluggish blood flow. Many times, your lymph nodes will run alongside your blood vessels. And your lymph system has a very cool relationship with your blood flow. It helps pull out toxicities out of your blood, and that lymph system, the lymph tubes, will take the impurities and throw them into the lymph nodes, the little meeting places where your body will then tag the infections, toxins, or sediment and give your immune cells a post-it note and says, this is what is not good for your body. Then your body will eat up the infections or toxins, and it will dispose through your lymph system. That is the importance of your lymph nodes. And whenever you have swelling, lymphedema, any type of stagnation, then you have to be concerned or be aware that there could be stagnation in your blood flow, thickening of your blood. You could have areas in your bloodstream that could have some forms of blood that is caking in that area. These are known as coagulants. And the reason it's so important is because when we have something such as lymphedema, or when somebody goes on a plane and they say when they fly to a certain altitude that they have swelling around their ankles, that not only shows lymphatic issues and kidney issues, but we have to make sure that the blood vessels, the capillaries, and the circulatory system are clean. Can your blood vessels get dirty? Yes. Can your lymph system get dirty? Yes. Now, the other thing is, when we talk about the symptoms, we have to remember that there are a few things that could cause this stagnation. There could be blockages. Blockages in your lymph flow could be caused by old surgeries, scar tissue, radiation, nodules. It can basically be coming from an infection that is stagnant within your body. The other thing is a sedentary lifestyle. Poor diet, dehydration, not having enough water in your system, and also exposure to toxins. Now, if you have any of these in your environment, this could lead to a slower moving lymph system. There are many practitioners out there that state that a slow or blocked lymph system can be one of the most injurious things to your body. And I have to agree. If you go to a lymph specialist, I look at Stop Chasing Pain, Dr. Perry. He is a very wise guy, not wise guy, but a very wise physician. And he talks about the importance of lymph flow. And when we talk about why it's so important is because in your blood system, in your bloodstream, you could get a proper, safe blood report. And I'm not trying to cause fear, I'm trying to cause awareness. But you could have all your blood levels basically within the normal range, and that's great. But I will give myself as an example. I have a lot of safe levels and numbers. But when I go to my electric lymph therapy specialist, there is devices they use, these static wands that literally run static through your skin around the lymph nodes, and they will actually basically unclog your lymph. The importance is that when they find the stagnant, stuck lymph area, of course it's lymph nodes that are sluggish. The fluid's not draining, but I also know that the blood flow is going to be hindered. The blood flow is not going to be as efficient as it should be. So I have to be aware that the blood vessels could be injured or not being as efficient as they should be. There could be sluggish blood. And what did I find? I found that there was areas around my chest, around the heart, around the lymph nodes in my left arm, even around the upper clavicle on the right, which is all where blood vessels, the superior aortic arch, all the vessels around my heart, in the lungs, that's where they hang out, right? So when I find that lymph nodes are basically congested around the upper area, that gives me a prerequisite to go further and deeper into finding if there is any thickening of my blood in that area. Remember, it's not to cause fear. It is to give you an idea that if this means sluggish lymph is around this area, that means your blood's probably already thick. So you can make that correlation. I have some, basically swelling in this area or lymphedema. I'm not saying that everybody that has swelling or lymph has a bad bloodstream or has some kind of blockage. I am not saying that. But I do want you to be aware, if you keep having those stagnant blood or stagnant lymph vessels, swollen lymph nodes, lymphedema, swelling around your ankles or feet, you need to go to a lymph specialist and find out the area where the lymph is congested. And you need to work properly to get that lymph flowing, which means it will help your blood flow tremendously. The cleaner your lymph, the more capability it has to clean your blood vessels, your blood, which means thinner blood, which means free-flowing blood, which means less chance of having any type of injury to your arteries or veins, helping your body reduce any possibility of a stroke or a heart attack or any type of blood problem. That's the importance of this podcast. Now, I'm using myself as an example is because there are some things that many of you guys probably have wondered what to do for stagnant blood or stagnant lymph issues. I say before we even get to the very end of this podcast, we always have to remember we need to stay active. You have to drink plenty of water. You need to have a healthy diet. You need to do your best to stay away from inorganic foods or pesticides or any type of toxicities in your food or drink. And you need to make sure you get lymphatic massage. So write those down before we even start. Activity, clean water, drinking plenty of water, a healthy diet, avoiding toxins, and considering that you should get lymph drainage massage. Those in themselves will keep your lymph nodes really, really clean and happy. And one of the basic added benefits is that your blood will thank you. So when I was talking about my congestion around my chest, and maybe some of you could think with me on this or had something similar happen, I noticed that when I have my blood drawn, I don't get queasy when I get my blood drawn. But what I do find is that when I have it done, my neck area around my carotids would feel strained. So, get my blood drawn, thicker blood, I could tell just from the way it looked. And I noticed that there was some issues with my carotids when it tender. What did that mean? I didn't get scared. I can use an oscilloscope to listen to my carotids. But I knew that there must be sluggish blood around that area. You don't want sluggish blood around your carotids. You don't want it to cause any caking or arteriosclerosis or any type of blockages. So I started getting the ELT, electric lymph therapy, to help move it. And what did I find? It was stuck all through this area, and I could feel the tightness. So in my heart of hearts, I'm thinking, I'm going to do my best to get my lymph detoxed to help my blood flow. And so in Chinese medicine, what you have to look into is the organ of the lymph system, namely the spleen, the thymus gland is behind your breastbone, your appendix, and any type of lymph tissue. And there's a lot in the back of your throat known as the adenoids or your tonsils. Even some consider your prostate being a huge lymph gland, the prostate. So I want you not only to think of just lymph stagnation, I want that to be a list for you. That if you're going to clean the lymph system, these organs need to be cleaned out. And my producer, Chrissy, she can write those down for us. We'll have that down at this mark, so we have it down there for you. I'm not ashamed to just call things out on the podcast because I want you guys to be educated. I'm not going to remember all these things, but this is the kicker. I want to tell you a little story, and Motley's going into story time. You notice how I talk to myself in third person. Horrible. Sorry. Okay, so I had a patient that she would tell me that she'd always had a swelling around her mouth, redness. She always had chapped lips, and she'd have swelling. In Chinese medicine, that is associated with the spleen. The spleen is literally sitting on the side of your stomach. The spleen, pancreas, or stomach are in this one area up in your upper digestion. They help you with what? Enzyme production, sugar and fats breakdown, and your stomach helps with acidity to break down the food you just ate. That means that the saliva in your mouth, the parotid glands around your cheeks, they are producing enzymes to help you break down the food that you're going to eat and digest. So it's broken down primarily in the mouth. It goes down to your stomach. Your stomach basically breaks down the rest. That's why it's so important to chew your food. Now, one of the signals is that if there is inflammation in your stomach or in your pancreas or spleen, the meridian, please picture this with me, the meridian for the stomach. So you have the stomach and the spleen, they're acting as coupled meridians. There are two meridians that are like basically brother and sister. That stomach meridian comes right down below your eyes and goes right down your cheeks, and basically it will go down through your throat and down the sides of your esophagus, passing through the stomach and through the spleen. That's the stomach meridian. If your stomach and spleen, if you're watching this, if your stomach and spleen right here underneath your diaphragm gets injured or has an infection, it will back up the energy right up that stomach meridian, right up through your sternum, on the sides of the sternum, up through your throat, up to your cheeks, right below your eyes. What does that mean? It means that the stomach's not going to digest food that well. It means that the mouth is not going to produce enzymes as well. It means that there's going to be a stagnation somewhere in that meridian that's going to cause the mouth to have issues. So the mouth is connected to the stomach and spleen. So a ring around the mouth, redness around the mouth, if you have chapped lips every year, this is where the kicker. Do you get chapped lips every year? Every winter you're like, man, my lips are the most chapped. But other friends of yours, they don't have this problem. They don't have to use any, what is it? Blistex? I can't remember what it's called. Right? They don't have to use it, but you do. Why is that? Because the person with the chapped lips is going to have an inflamed digestive system, an inflamed stomach or spleen. So when this ring occurred around her mouth, long story short, I knew it had to do with her stomach. I knew it had to do with her upper digestion. So she had this issue that happened and occurred all the time. And I was wondering that there was going to be some kind of infection in her body with her lymph flow. And so I kept keeping an eye on it, but she always had issues with diarrhea. Always. So my mind's already thinking that her stomach and her spleen, that whole lymphatic area, that little area right there is injured. And every time she had this ring around the mouth, it took me, her body, her signals in acupuncture system, led me down to her appendix area. So she had the stomach issue. I was doing my examination. I kept going, and they call it Rovsing sign. Basically, she had a sore appendix, and she had bloating all the time. That's a spleen. That's a lymph tissue, your appendix. So the appendix was swollen, and I would work on it. The more I worked on her stomach and spleen and all the whole meridian and started trying to clean up her lymph tissue, she would get very, very tired. She calls me about 4 days later and says, I'm having severe pain in my abdomen area, almost like I have appendicitis. Granted, I've been treating her for a while, and she's had diarrhea ever since I've known her. She kept having the ring around her mouth. Spleen, stomach, lymph tissue, lymphatic flow, appendix. See how it's all correlating together? Had to get her appendix removed. They were doing a biopsy on the appendix. When she got rid of the appendix, because she was like, I got to save it, I was like, it's about to rupture. So I'm not opposed to surgeries. If it's about to rupture, you need to do something about it. And would you know that all her diarrhea stopped right after she got that appendix removed? That diseased appendix, that lymph tissue was so infected, that was a thing that kept giving her diarrhea. Those bacteria were flowing right into her large intestine, and she kept, her body was like, I'm tired of this toxicity, flush it out, flush it out, flush it out. I can't handle it. But you guys, I hope this makes a point. Her body was showing her that her lymph glands, her lymph tissue was sluggish. Right off the bat, ring around the mouth. I want you to know this, that just the appendix could, give you issue. Have you had your tonsils taken out? Do you get a chest tightness anytime you eat, or do you have food allergies? All of these lymph glands are connected through all these tubes, the lymph tubes, throughout your body. And all these specialized lymph glands are so special because they contain the capacity with B lymphocytes to kill infections in your body. And when I found this on the patient, my thoughts are, yes, okay, she got the appendix taken out. She has sluggish lymph nodes. My next thought is that she's going to have some type of infection within her lymph system. And there's going to be a chronic one. And that's what we have found. We have found that she had chronic strep in her body. So, with this though, when I looked through my notes, I told her that the importance of keeping her lymph flowing is so major because not only will it help with her detoxing the lymph tissue, her organs, but it keeps her blood clean. Her blood flow, her blood levels were pretty normal, but she always had an increased number of red blood cells. She always had an increased number of neutrophils, some lymphocytes, but that was all giving me a story. It was showing to me that her body was busy fighting off an infection within her lymph system. Her blood was now showing me those issues. And you're not going to see a red ring around the mouth, maybe chapped lips all around the mouth. But if you get the slight, subtle hints that you swell or have swelling around your ankles or around your body whenever, randomly, when you're traveling, when you're stressed, if you feel like you have a poor immune system, then you have to realize that there could be this issue going on in your body. And you have to be very careful about it. So the biggest point to this podcast is not to raise fear, but to tell you that when these things occur, I want you to see that we want to flush out the lymph system and keep it healthy. And this will keep your blood system healthy. Many times what will happen is we will focus in even in functional medicine, in holistic medicine, we'll focus in on giving all the vitamins and minerals we can, which is great. And we focus in on doing things to help clean out blood, which is great, and it works. But oftentimes we can forget the lymph nodes and the lymph system. And we have to clean out that system in order for the blood to stay cleaned out. It's great to work on the blood, but you have to clean up the lymph system with it. So if you find yourself with chest tightness and you suspect that there's any type of thymus gland infection, which means people usually get, you know what they get when they have a thymus gland issue? They'll eat something and they'll feel like something gets stuck in their throat or their chest. Or they'll go, man, I keep getting mucus every single time I eat. My chest feels like it's spread. It's almost like it's constricted here in the chest. I'm not saying it's the only reason. But if you get that, I would suspect an infected thymus gland. Thymus. The other thing is, if you know that your throat tonsil glands, your adenoids behind your nose, right about where your mouth meets your nose, if those glands get swollen anytime you get a cold or get sick and they just really swell up and they really get mucousy and they have congestion or you have tonsil stones, not only is that infection in the throat, it's telling me that your whole lymph system has probably got some infections or toxins going on. If your appendix hurts when you eat food, or if your inguinal lymph nodes, if they ever feel sore or tender, anybody out there feel like that area right, seriously, around the pubic bone, around your hip bones, the crotch area, I hate to use that term, but that's the truth. Anytime those lymph nodes swell on your inner thighs or in your little hip bone area, do you have that? Do they swell? That's swollen lymph nodes. That means there's congested infections, possibly, down near your reproductive system. Could this lead to issues with your women's hormonal cycle, like the period or their cycle? Yes. Could it lead to testicular swelling? Yes. Could it lead to infections within the testicles? In my opinion, yes. But are you guys seeing? I repeat things over and over again because I just want you to know that whenever you see these signs and symptoms, and if you notice that they get randomly swollen or they get infected, that means that the infections are lying below the surface. So they're in the lymph system. And many times, viruses like Epstein-Barr virus, cytomegalovirus, herpes-type viruses, they'll infect the B lymphocytes in your lymph nodes. So I say this funny, but I'm being serious. Let's say you have a great makeout session with somebody when you're a kid, and people are laughing right now. They're like, oh yeah, I remember back in the day. You guys are just like grinning right now. You have a great, I'm ridiculous. You have a great makeout session or something, or you drank after somebody who had some cold sores or canker sores, something like that. What happens? Could you pass some of that viral to you? Yes. And does that get into your lymph nodes? Yes. Does it infect your B lymphocytes? Yes, it could. No fault of our own, no blame, no shame. This is just the reality of it. And then that stuff can spread over time in your body. Okay, so that's the reality of it. It can spread. And you notice, man, I'm getting cold sores too. I get cold sores when I get stressed. Man, every time I get stressed, I get a cold sore. When I get sick, my throat gets congested. I have to, could it all be connected? You'd better believe it can. And when that happens, I'm going to give you some ideas. Like we talked about some of the things to help remedy this. Is cleaning the lymph is not a quick fix issue. It is, you need to remember that you're going to have to work at cleaning your lymph throughout your life. That's why I love food as medicine. I love when you can find foods such as rosemary, thyme, oregano. These things clean your lymph system. We're serious. Really great Italian food, really great sauces to have these things in there. Those are just examples. Rosemary, thyme, oregano. You don't have to eat them, but it's just an example. In Korean food, we eat a lot of crushed red pepper, ginger, garlic, green onions. They're all very clarifying. But when they go into the system to clean up the lymph system, you're trying to help your body clear out all the infections in the lymph, plus raise the immune system back up. You want this to travel through your thymus, to your spleen, to your tonsils, to your inguinal lymph nodes, to your appendix. You want to clean them out. The hardest part is this, everyone, and this is honest truth. I have seen people that have done everything in their body to clean out, like their blood and such, their cardiovascular system, and they do a great job, but they'll have one of those organs that just stays toxic. I've had people do the best job at every single thing cleaning out, and they'll still have tonsil stones. Like big ones. You see how adamant I am when I say that? I am serious. I've seen some crazy things. And they have such big tonsil stones. They'll ask, Doc, what do I do? Because, people come to me and I'm trying to do my natural medicine. And I've seen some really good, thank God, not to me, not me. I'm saying I've seen some really cool miracles with herbs and things that we've done here. But I've seen patients that have had such big tonsil stones that their tonsils were touching. And they're doing all the right things. And they are clean, have a clean diet, have everything, but something in their throat would not allow the tonsils to drain. Do they need to get them removed? Sometimes I said it's up to you, but I don't see these things recovering as efficiently as we want them to, and they've had to get them removed. So I'm saying, don't blame yourself. You doing everything to clean your blood. Sometimes those organs get so infected, but it doesn't mean you stop trying to keep your lymph clean. You got to keep cleaning your lymph, okay? Because maybe that area just got stagnant. Now, I hope I'm not going all over the place. I want you guys to know that if you had the lymph issues, a swelling, the next thing that you have to remember, yes, there's toxins, there's infections, there's things we have to remember, but you always have to remember emotions too. So a sluggish lymph system, if you're doing all the right things, remember you're cleaning your blood, we're going to tell you how to keep clean your lymph, and you do all the right steps, but your lymph system still stays sluggish. Remember, the lymph system is there and it shows emotional resiliency. Your lymph system has basically a job to do with your emotions. It will actually get sluggish and slow down to build up more swelling in your body so that you can take a hit better. Your lymph system will get congested and you'll find swelling all over the body because you need emotional resilience, padding, because you're tired of taking a hit. So if you have emotional toxins, if you have environmental toxins, not only in the form of personal care products, heavy metals, unclean air or water, but if it's emotional toxicity, like people in your life that are very toxic to you, toxic words, toxic physical contact, if there are toxicities, your body could possibly build up your lymph swelling. So if you are doing all the right things and you still have it, you need to look into, let's say, you need to look into 3 things. Now, these are not the only things. Self-evaluation. Do you put yourself down a lot, or are you in an environment that people put you down? Do you ever feel like you're not good enough? Number 2. So people are putting you down. Self-evaluation. You're not good enough. That's number 1. I'm sorry. Number 2. I have to take care of everybody else's stuff before I can focus on myself. Do you have that idea or thought that you say, I've got to focus on everybody else's thoughts, everybody else's job before I can feel happy? I'm only happy if such and such is happy. If they're comfortable, I'm comfortable. No. That is not healthy for your lymph system. Number 3. If you ever have a time in your life where that life doesn't feel nourishing to you, that you don't feel satisfied, have you ever eaten a meal and you didn't feel satisfied with it? That's your stomach telling you you didn't eat the right stuff. Have you ever been in an environment where you were in a relationship and you went, man, I don't feel satisfied? You weren't fed the right stuff. It could happen physically while you eat, but it comes emotionally in your environment. If that's the case, those are the 3 things. And the reason it's so important is because I know many of you have gone through it. And you're shaking your head, yes, I'm doing it. It's going through right now, or I've done it in the past, and it wore you out. And you're going to put yourself down for it. That's the name of the game with the lymph tissue. If you have sluggish lymph, you're a person who probably naturally takes care of other individuals, looks out for them more than you look out for yourself. put yourself down, feels guilty, feels shame, and you're not getting the best out of life. And I can tell you all the things, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through some of the more points. But all of this, all these emotional undertones can all be expressed with swollen ankles, lymphedema, sluggish memory, headaches, brain fog, skin problems, poor immune system, a swollen spleen, a swollen appendix. But I want you to remember these things right here. I got it written down. Stay active. Truly, you need to do regular exercise to help your lymph move. Whether it's rebounding on a trampoline, whether it's doing jumping jacks, take care of your knees, whether it's doing a great walk, whether it's just doing some form of physical activity. I don't care if it's pickleball. I don't care if it's golf. Stay active. I want you to drink plenty of water. Some people say 8 glasses of 8 ounces a day. I think it's great. Drink as much water as you can. Don't overhydrate, maybe 8 to 10 glasses. If you can just get 6 glasses, drink plenty of water. Clean water. Eat a diet that's healthy, that's good for your body type. You can look at, body types diets, but I'm not trying to get into diet because diets can be very, very hard to talk about in just one short podcast. But you want nutrient-rich, dense food. You want to keep the sugars, the refined carbs and sugars out. So reduce refined sugars and carbs and have nutrient-rich, dense food. Also, avoid toxicities. Avoid personal care products that are toxic, that have chemicals in them. Avoid food that has chemicals in them. Pesticides, GMOs. I literally saw a billboard the other day, and that says they want to protect glyphosates because it affects farming. And no way am I against farmers, but glyphosates are very bad for the body. That part, you need to avoid glyphosates as much as you can. Pesticides. Avoid food dyes. Avoid any type of plastics. Drink out of clean glass bottles. I know you guys know this, but I'm just reminding you. Avoid this. Don't use a microwave as much as possible. Use something like a good heat system. Avoid EMFs. Don't let that computer sit on your lap more than an hour at night. Don't sit there and just stare at a screen like we all do. I know you do. I know we do. You guys are there and you guys are with me. You're like, I don't watch TikTok that long. And I'm like, we all will do it sometimes. Reduce your EMF exposure. And I want you to really look into getting ELT, electric lymph therapy, like I get lymphatic massages, get assessed for that, get thermography if you have to. If you keep having these signals, these swelling, everything I told you, you need to find a good thermogram. I think my friend Danielle at the Wellness Coordinator, if we can write that down, she is a wealth of knowledge. She does thermography, and she ties it in with Chinese medicine. She does a really great job and shows you all the thermography. And when you find out that you have swelling in certain areas, like a chronic neck pain or chronic chest pain, you find that the thermogram show it's red hot. You start cleaning those lymph nodes out, it'll reduce. This will help your blood cleanse. So, the other thing is we got 2 more things. Now, those things you can do at home. You have to get a lymphatic massage. You have to go to somebody for that. The next thing is I want you to pay attention to your words. Remember those things I told you about the emotions? I want you to pay attention to your words. If you have a self-devaluation or if you put yourself down, I want you to make sure that you do some form of therapy or a psychological, emotional trauma therapy that helps you to find out why you have the issue of putting others before yourself and why you think you're not good enough. You need to find that out. And one thing I would say is look into EFT. EFT tapping is amazing. Emotional freedom technique. You can learn it and do it at home. There's a great book. It's called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. I think it's by Carol Truman. Talks about all the mantras you can say. You can use these mantras while you're tapping the acupuncture points in EFT. It's a great combo. In fact, if you do this, you're going to find out other emotions come to the surface, and you're going to find out, and you'll actually expose more traumas, which is good for you to get rid of in your life and clean out. Be aware of. It'll help your lymph flow. There's two things we talked about, two supplements, and I'm going to put these in the show notes. I'll put the link to it, and I'll send it to my producer. One's called Mangista Supreme. Mangista Supreme is called Rubio, but Mangista Supreme is basically an Ayurvedic herb that is so good for lymph therapy. It's lymph tonic. It helps rejuvenate, it helps encourage, it helps strengthen and clean out the lymph nodes. Second thing is for your blood flow. And for lymph, it's called hawthorn berry. Chinese medicine use hawthorn berry. It helps clean the blood, helps stabilize the blood, helps stabilize the heart. It also helps with lymph flow. So remember, it's that blood and lymph connection. If you just research these two, we'll have the links there. We'll put them down there. You add these two. You do some of the basic things we're talking about right now. But really, if you have questions, if you think, is my lymph nodes? I don't even think it is. Go find a lymphatic drainage person in your area. Find out if they do thermography. See where it's congested and get it drained. I know it's a long, man, it's been running, guys. I usually don't go this long on my solo projects. I probably ranted a little more than I wanted to. But I want you guys to be aware. So let me know what you guys think about this particular podcast. What we'll do is I'm trying to, on my membership, I'm going to try to have Dr. Perry from at Stop Chasing Pain be on the membership call. We like to take some of this information from our solo projects and put it into membership conversations. So we usually do it like we'll air this on a Friday, and then we'll have it on the next Wednesday. We do a live on Wednesday evenings. And we like to take a deep dive. So if you guys are interested in the deep dive, let us know. We're trying to revamp a bit on the membership, and we're going to do a little bit more easy to understand, shorter videos. So that you guys can take these easy, simple, step-by-step things and clean up the system. That's why each organ can be cleaned. So if you like it, please like and subscribe. Please send it to somebody who has some congested lymph nodes. If you yourself, you know anybody that has swollen ankles when they fly, you need to get this podcast to them pronto. Anyway, all right, guys. We're really appreciative for you guys listening in to the Ancient Health Podcast. I'm so thankful for you all. Until next time, enjoy this day. Take it easy.